I've given this bag of chips over here to my mouse and mole friends, um, Molly and Lucina. I also call her Lucy, and they found a way to close it. Like they're gonna hide it from me, or they're gonna keep me out of it. Like they need to close up its instincts, right? They only know that when you go into a tunnel, you got to back close it so that nothing else comes in after you. So they found a way to actually close the bag. I think that's really cute. I think it's funny. It's unnecessary, but their bodies and their brains don't think in terms of what is and what isn't necessary. On some level, their brains are incapable of thinking about what they do and do not need to know, and in that way, what corners they can and cannot cut. And so, if I came here to talk about anything in particular, it would be to talk thematically around the two videos that I just tried to make that YouTube wouldn't let me upload for whatever reason. I'll work on that later in the day, and maybe we'll get there. But the first one was I scrolled through TikTok and see this woman trying to make a wrongful termination lawsuit around her being fired from McDonald's because there was a standard grease spill, and instead of just containing it with the mop while you get the spill kit, putting the spill kit down, and then absorbing it with silicate or some other, usually it's a crystal absorbent that you drop down on it. This woman makes a ring of salt around it, and then she tries to say in her description of the thing for her wrongful termination lawsuit, she tries to say that she didn't know that it was already slick outside the salt ring, when what actually happened, and what they will demonstrate in her lawsuit if it ever gets if it ever gets past discovery, is that she actually made it worse by putting that salt down. It just dissolved the bottom layer of salt and kept going like fluids do. There's nothing, the salt isn't doing anything to stop the progress of the spreading oil. So you put it down, it liquefies on the dirty floor that you can look at the store and see that the floor has not been cleaned adequately recently. And so that's about what I'm upset about, is that this woman is the manager, and that the comment section is full of people saying, I've never ever seen a spill kit. And it's like, well, if you're not the manager on duty, you don't need to have seen the spill kit if there wasn't a spill. And the other thing you don't know is that if the manager pulls out the spill kit and the general manager has to order another spill kit and there wasn't a spill reported, the manager is in trouble. So the manager is going to try not to use the spill kit so the spill isn't reported to corporate or to whomever their boss is. I'm fine, Aaron. How are you? A little agitated, but I'm always a little agitated. I don't want to be awake this early. But whatever, I'm awake this early. That's about preparedness, and that upset me. That video upset me enough to talk about it here, not to bury that woman. I don't know that woman. But to bury the wrongful termination lawsuit industry, that entire market. Because if you're actually wrongfully terminated, the lawyers whose job it is to defend you are all preoccupied with not actually wrongful termination lawsuits. It's almost impossible to defend yourself from an actual wrongful termination. And that's on purpose. The courts are designed to be clogged up, making money off of frankly, idiots who have no business being employed in the first place, completely unemployable people that the employer shouldn't have bet on in the first place. And so the legal system is designed in such a way that the company gets blasted over and 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 over for putting these people in positions of power and then terminating them in illegal ways. You never should have hired them, never should have put them in that position, and you absolutely are not allowed to fire people in that way. But the people who are fired in wrongful ways just for being excellent, they can't get lawyers. Because making the argument, well, I was fired for being excellent, is too impossible to win. It's too obvious. You're employable. The judge is going to go, well, you're employable. Just take those skill sets and that rage and go somewhere else and be excellent there. Because that's the correct answer. You're never eligible for social safety nets if you're competent. And that's why no one's competent. If you can compete in the market, you can compete in the market. So go forth. You don't need our help. That's what they tell you. And so what you have to do is what my dad did the whole time I was in high school. You have to make yourself a loser. You have to make yourself completely incompetent. You have to make yourself unemployable. You have to make yourself the kind of person who just can't get private loans anymore to own their business anymore. You just have to make yourself useless. Those are your options. And those are the right options. Those are the right options. And so it's just about how you react. It's about your emotional preparedness to react. It's about how much time you spend working on yourself, and how ready you are, in fact, for when the thing goes wrong. Because the thing is always coming. And we talked about this in a short yesterday. The bad thing, it's always coming. Unemployment, it's always coming. The closure of the business, always coming. Failure of the management structure, always coming. It's always imminent. And so acting like this cyclical, imminent thing isn't either cyclical or imminent. It's just putting you at risk. It's putting you at risk. That's gambling with your future in a way that doesn't make sense for you. And in that way, I would say is stupid. Because I define stupid as anything that's not self-beneficial. My father defined a stupid question as one you could answer for yourself, given the information and the tool sets already available to you. And so, frankly, given the AI search engines that we have, any asked question is a stupid question. Asked of a human being to a certain point. But then there become questions we can't answer for ourselves. And that's how I arrived at being Shaggy. That's how I became me. In the most fundamental ways. My dad told me that when I was 4 years old. He goes, look, you're going to go to preschool and they're going to tell you there's no such thing as a stupid question, but there is such a thing as a stupid question. They're not going to tell you this, but a stupid question distracts from the rest of the classroom. It makes the classroom and the answering of the stupid question about you and about paying attention to you, not about the sacrality of the classroom. That's what he said to me before I went to preschool. I was 4 years old. My dad always spoke to me like I was an adult. He said, a stupid question is one you could answer for yourself, given the information that you already have and the tools already available to you. Just take a second and answer it before you ask it out loud. If you have a thought and you don't immediately know the answer, just think about it for a second. And if the answer comes to you, or it turns out that it was irrelevant, my mother taught me this later in life, but if it turns out it was irrelevant to the moment, the question was irrelevant to you. My mother taught me this when we would watch mysteries. My mother liked to watch, I said this before, but my mother liked to watch mystery material. So we watched a lot of Law and Order together. We watched a lot of, we read a lot of mystery books together. Scooby-Doo was a big deal in our house. Well, for the three of us. My siblings had different relationships with my parents, and they did different things. I was the first, you see, and so I did the things that my parents were already doing between 18 and 22 when the second one came. By 22, you're old enough to be like, okay, I should probably be doing like the kid things. I should be like probably orienting the kid toward being a kid and then growing up into more mature things. That's not what they did with me. I wouldn't say that I'm into Greek philosophy. I would say that I have consumed it, Chris. Okay, so you You make an assumption about me, and then you say that the assumption that you made about me isn't a surprise, but the assumption that you made about me is wrong. So, what 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 does that do to your surprise framework? Or did you just interrupt me talking about being disruptive and interrupting a speaker in a sacred environment to prove me right? Please, let's make this about you. Let's feed you the attention that you need today. How easy it is to say something wrong and hateful and then thumb up yourself. I am aware, but Greek language doesn't mean Greek philosophy. Just because I derived the word from the Greek language doesn't mean that I'm into Greek philosophy. I can be into the Greek language without being into the philosophy. Well, no surprise there is a hateful thing to say. You're expressing your hate of what I'm doing. You're gonna make me put my glasses on. I don't even, I was working on that anyway. And you racists are just stupid, Chris. You're just stupid. Not worth my time. So who remembers what I was talking about? Preparedness generally. Being prepared for stupid people to roll up and say stupid things. Recognizing where their stupid things come from. And then somebody using Caucasian as a capital is just a black guy being a dickhead. So who cares what anybody just being a dickhead thinks about anything. Don't tell me what to do, Corn. Outdoor boys, Ant-Man? I don't know what that means. If I had to guess, it's probably a channel you're recommending. I'll blow you a smoke ring for $5, Corn. Otherwise, I don't take requests. You may or may not believe this, but I am absolutely not here for your amusement, and that's what I thought. Ant-Man. I'm just gonna say 2 words, one of which is a compound word with no context, and I'm going to expect you to know what I'm talking about because I only know my frame of reference and I assume that everyone is just like me. Okay, Ant-Man. I do have Venmo, Ant-Man. I am blowing smoke. Rockhead. Eyeless. I think I'm waiting for 10 o'clock. I would never call my mustache nice, but thank you. My mustache is super uneven. Thank you for the compliment. It's the only part of my facial hair that grows well at all. Need to trim it up. It's over long. It gets into my face when I'm trying to eat. Or it gets into my food when I'm trying to eat, and that's annoying. But thank you for the compliment. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just comes with time. Hi, Rachie. I went as long as I could without wearing my glasses, but here we are. If I have health insurance, I don't know who's paying for it. I think I might still have Medicare or whatever it's called from the government, but I haven't used it since I stopped going to therapy, since I ended my therapy. I have no intention of seeing a doctor anytime soon, so I don't know why I would need insurance. I have no plan to gamble on my health, so I don't know why I need to gamble on my health. That's what I was talking about, was risk and doing stupid things that are risky for no reason. Was I seeing the reflection of the water inside? No, there's a hair right there. Fuck you, hair. Did I get it? I need that hair to not be in my face. That's gonna distract me for the rest of the day. I'm just stoned enough that it's gonna make me feel like I'm seeing ghosts. I see a ghost. Told you, Shaggy. Scooby-Doo was a big part of my growing up. Today's topic, I don't know, I was just talking about the things that were setting me off as I was going through TikTok, and then a guy decided that he wanted to be a material example of what I was talking about, and so I don't remember it anymore. Rage, now this guy's just asking me about health insurance for some reason. I made a video that YouTube won't let me upload for some stupid fucking reason. And so I just moved on to bitching about it until somebody decided to be a material example. Yeah, they're doing stuff in the background. They're always tinkering, and the mobile user is going to feel it first. That's just annoying. I'll have the draft. So I'm not worried about it. I was just kind of ranting about how people claim that they're not trained to do the job that they're given, but they are trained. They just claim that they're not trained so they can make a bad faith wrongful termination lawsuit and win. But that because they do that, people who are wrongfully terminated can't win their suit without making themselves a loser. No, I don't have any friends, Wally. I don't know when you've seen them guest star. I don't know anyone in this town who's not an ex-girlfriend. In fact, I don't know anyone in this town who isn't the reason I live in this tent. Sure, we've all had jobs where we weren't trained, but you didn't walk into a management position. You didn't walk into a leadership position. You didn't walk into a job where they could wrongfully terminate you for doing the job poorly without being trained. They didn't put you in a position where you could negatively impact the business in a way that they could just terminate you. That just didn't happen to you, Rachel. I don't remember raising my voice at you, Walleye. I do remember you saying, again, no judgment, so I just assumed that we had interacted before and that you had said something judgmental to me and that you felt you needed to, again, remind me that you're not being judgmental, so I'm just playing off your syntax and language use. So if you don't want me to assume that there's some familiarity there, don't use familiar idioms. I'm grateful for everything you have to, old world. Everything you have to be responsible for is something I don't have to be responsible for. That's why that woman was supposed to know where the fucking kit is. If you're the manager on duty and you don't know where the emergency situation material is, if you don't know where the spill kit is, you don't know where the first aid kit is, you don't know where the damn fire thing is, you're a liability to everyone on that crew. Why wouldn't I be, old world? Callie, it's 20 degrees right now. I can't feel my fingers. Was there an incident? Yeah, this woman, there was a standard ordinary grease spill in a McDonald's, and this woman decided to pour table salt around it, slipped and fell into it. They fired her immediately for all of the OSHA violations that were happening right there. And she's trying to make a wrongful termination suit that she wasn't trained properly and that she didn't know that the floor was already slick. Bitch, I can look at that video and see that you haven't done your mop. Fuck off. And anyway, pouring table salt was just making the problem a problem. It was soluble with a bucket of fucking mop water and some wet floor signs and some idiots not just standing around looking at it. They act like fucking hot grease, maybe 300 degrees, maybe 400 if you're being irresponsible, is hot lava. Like the floor is suddenly hot lava and we all just have to stand around and wait for it to turn into obsidian. Like, shut the fuck up. Go get the mop and go get the spill kit. If you don't know where the spill kit is, go back to fucking work. It's not a big deal. It's just a little bit of grease. I know what we can do. We can make a salt circle. That's going to keep it inside, just like a ghost. It keeps ghosts inside. Let's do it to keep this grease inside. Oh, we've made the problem worse because iodized table salt is a fucking soluble, and it just turned into a fucking grease slurry that made the problem worse. Who said I want friends? Walleye. Don't tell me what to do. No, I don't have a heater, Cherry. I don't want a heater. Why would I want a heater? Why are you trying to set my home on fire? And Walleye, if I come off as cold and confrontational, it's because I'm being both cold and confrontational. Why are you talking to me like it's my third day of kindergarten? It wasn't a fire, it was just a grease spill. And water will help contain it because grease and water don't mix. I don't remember raising my voice, Walleye. If the floor were mopped, and you just mopped around the spill's going to hit the water and it's going to fold back in on itself because the grease isn't going to, the water is going to be an impermeable barrier for the grease. Just use the mop to keep it contained, and then you get your spill kit. And shit, if you're not an idiot, you can just wick the stuff up right into your mop bucket, empty it out. The fucking soap is for breaking the grease out of the mop. If you're fucking using your soap correctly, if your soap and water are the correct proportion, this is not a problem. This is easy because the corporation spent millions of dollars solving it. Just knowing how to mop because you watched the video where they taught you how to mop properly and when to mop properly. Just following the fucking plan of the day because you're a manager and you're doing the job properly keeps the store from being this problem. And yeah, pouring salt around it was dumb. It wasn't silly. It was stupid. It was negligent, and it was dangerous. Because that salt is going to be more difficult to mop up. Because the water, all it's doing is you're just dissolving it. And so you're just spreading it around. You're turning the floor into a fucking homeopathy situation. You have to mop that floor over and over and over to get that up. And then you're going to have to wet mop it. And wet mopping it is something you absolutely cannot do during the middle of a fucking shift. But she's got a lawyer who's going to make it that it's the general manager's fault and they have to bring her back at higher pay and they have to pay her damages. So now she just gets to live an inexpensive life for free because she's a danger to herself and everyone around her at all times with basic chemistry. Just the basic chemistry we need to know to live our lives. She doesn't know, and she's in charge, not just of the human lives in her proximity, not just the millions of dollars invested in that building. Your food. Every time food comes out to me from a kitchen and it's only par cooked, it's technically to temp, but it's undercooked. Every time it comes out to me, I know that my food isn't the only food coming out undercooked. Everybody's food's coming out undercooked. That's unacceptable. No reason for that. Ever. If you get a whole bunch of orders in a row, you cook them all the way through. If it takes an extra 30 seconds, because it can only take an extra 2 minutes. And if you're that far behind, if you're that jammed up by 2 tables walking in at the same time, everybody needs to be fired. Start the fuck over. This is not hard. It's not hard. And frankly, if you're proud of the work that you do, if you take pride in the work that you do, that extra 2 minutes, the table can entertain its fucking self, or the server can do her job, and she can give a little song and dance and show a little leg for that extra 2 fucking minutes. It's not hard to earn our fucking wages. It's just not. It's just not hard to do it the right way. And so you want to tell me that the right way to stand up in front of you in public and tell you that you're a piece of shit is to be nice to you and be your friend and emotionally manipulate you into it? And I'm going to tell you that's the wrong way. I'm not your friend. I am here to confront you. Go fuck yourself. If I wanted friends, I would have friends. I am a moderately attractive dude. I am very funny, and I am eminently likable. That's why you don't like that I'm so confrontational. You're saying, oh, you're moderately attractive. You're funny. I would like you to like me. So say things that I like so that I feel like you like me. Go fuck yourself. Be likable. Hello, Angie. Well, I don't want you to be my friend, and I want you to know the difference in K-new and not K-new. K-new is knowledge, not K-new is novelty. But hello. You guys all need to understand that you're 5 to 10 seconds behind me, so when that shows up, it's probably going to be in the middle of me being confrontational. So you're just going to have a stiffer back, frankly, than what Walleye did. It's like sometimes I was thinking about what would happen yesterday if one of my servers, like one of them, she's maybe, I don't know, 5'8", 5'6", she probably weighs all of 130 pounds. And I was just thinking, like, if I just, here, hold my backpack for me real quick. My 25-pound backpack that I carry everywhere. And so, like, I was watching this guy. I picked it up and I just held it out from my body, and then I just curled it up to my shoulder. And I could see this guy going, yeah, that ain't hard with like 2 pounds of clothes or whatever. And I thought about like just going and dropping it in his lap. Like, here, poof, fuck you. When I used to work with this guy, and so I'm thinking in terms of metaphors, just strong backs. You want to have a stiff back when the weight is thrown at you. I used to work with this guy, Charlie Donahue. If you're out there in the universe and you're well, I still love you. You don't understand what it's like to have a disordered attachment style like what I do. Okay, Charlie, I love you. I think about you every day, but I can't talk to you anymore because there's too much distance between us in time and space. I used to love Charlie. Charlie, I was 20 when I started working. I was the skinniest fucking kid working night stock with these guys, and they were all grown men, and this shit's heavy. And that motherfucker, I used to want to do it. I wanted it. And so I used to help him unload the truck. And so dog food day was a day, right? You got to have a strong back, especially if you're working with Charlie, because you never know when you're going to turn around and a 50-pound bag of dog food is already in the air at speed toward your chest. He used to do that shit all the time. If he felt like I was talking too much or I wasn't paying attention, I would turn around and it would just already be there. You got to catch it or you're going to feel and look like an asshole, and it's going to fucking hurt because you're going to hit the ground. That's going to hit you and you're going to hit the fucking ground at the speed and at the velocity and momentum of a 50-pound dog food flying out of Charlie Donahue's hands. And so in 2026, we're going, that's an unsafe workplace environment. But it wasn't, because he knew I could handle it. And I never did. I never fell. It never hurt me. It never even caused me a tweak, because I wasn't only talking. I was in the moment. I was just talking because I'm a talkative guy, because I can do both things. And so he was testing my mastery. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to show up, you're going to say, I can be your friend, then you're going to have to be prepared to just catch 50-pound bags of dog food falling from the Empire State Building every once in a while. It's going to fucking happen. Or you're going to have to just realize that I wasn't aiming at you. I was just throwing this fucking dog food. You guys can't understand that the friends that you have, that you've had for a really long time, you've had because you've known them for a really long time, regardless of your particular specific investment in their lives. You understand? Making friends as an adult is archaeology. Sure, you can use the skill sets that you acquired in kindergarten through 12th grade, right? like you did in university. You can just go, I accept you for what you are, and we're just going to be friends for that reason. But you're never going to do that with me. You understand that there's going to be always be too much friction for you who just show up and go, oh, you're moderately attractive. You're kind of funny. I would like you to like me. Let's be friends now. That's a method, sure. But I'm a public speaker trying to earn his it's Monday. I need to eat. And a couple of hours I would like to eat. I'm trying to earn my fucking way in life because I cashed out 2 days ago. So I got $100 to make if I'm gonna cash out again in 4 weeks. You understand what I'm saying? This is a hustle for me. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. I'm here to change lives. I'm here to eat. You understand? Like Ezekiel Elliott wants to be fed, I want to be fed as well. You see, I'm not here to be nice to you. I'm here to tell you that the way you live your life is why I live mine here, waiting on civilization to collapse around us. I'm the one who's going to be prepared. When the grocery stores are a fucking riot, I'm the one who's going to be ready. Hello, Brandon. Good morning. I'm not even proud of that. That's the behavior of a crazy person. And I'm aware of it. I'm more aware of it than anybody. You guys scroll through and you go, oh, this guy's kind of, agitated. He seems to be emotionally elevated. And it's like, you have no fucking idea. Stop yelling at me. I haven't even raised my voice yet. You'll know when I've raised my voice. You'll know when I'm agitated at you specifically. And you'll know when I like you and I'm agitated with you specifically, because it will be very different. What I let you see of my emotional agitation is relative. It's directly proportional to how much I care about you, how much I like you. So if you think I'm cold, it's not because I don't like you. It's because I just don't know you. I worked with this guy later in my life, working at Mill and Main, is no longer there in Silva, but it used to be an institution in Silva, North Carolina. Dan and Leanne, if you're out there in the universe, I love both of you too. I think about you every day. They were like parents to me. They were like the parents I never had, and of course and I'm not telling you anything that everybody in Silva doesn't know. They're the most dysfunctional couple in Silva, but they're also the most loving couple in Silva. They love one another. They love one another with a kind of passion that I don't want to manage in my life. But they taught me a lot about being a person, by keeping me around, choosing me because I was excellent even if I was hard to work with, choosing me over and over and over again. But they had a friend who worked for them, and I was a server and he worked in the kitchen, and I was just I'm just not that dude with dudes. I'll be that dude with chicks where I'm like, hi, I'm Vincent, welcome to the, friendly, whatever, because chicks have weak backs. Dudes don't, and every time I tried to do that with the dude behind at the pizza counter, he would quit because he wasn't making enough money. And it's like, I'm making the kind of money I'm making because I'm excellent. You don't have to be excellent with that pizza for me to make the kind of money I'm making. But the better you are at the pizza, the more money I'm going to make, for sure. And no, I'm not going to give you any of it. But if you wanted to hang out, I might buy you beers. Like that. And so they were just going through pizza dudes. And on some level, it was my fault. I knew that. And so I just didn't want to be friends with this dude because he was already friends with Dan and Leanne, and he already knew everybody that was an institution, Brock. And hey, Brock. He already knew all these people. Morgan, and I'm really sorry that I can't remember your name. I just remember you as the Puerto Rican girl, but that's not really what you were. And I'm sorry. She was like a Maria or something. I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel bad about that one. Um, and so one day I'm walking home from work, and he decides that, I don't know, he's going to walk with me. And we had been drinking, and he goes, "Hey, do you just not like me?" And I was like, "What? No, I just don't know you. I haven't put any effort into getting to know you because I just don't react well to new people." And he goes, "Oh, dude, that's sick. That makes total sense." And then after that, we were cool. We never got close, but we were cool. We were work buddies. And we weren't even work buddies. He was an establishment with those guys. And he could absolutely understand that I might be jealous of that, or envious, or insecure around it. And so he dated one of the girls, one of the servers, and then they broke up. And then we were never buddies. Like, we were never friends. But we were never hostile in the same space, because he could understand that I'm not hostile. I'm just weird around new people. It might take me years before I consider you a friend, before I consider you close enough for me to touch, even in a high five. Like, I broke Leanne's heart one day. She was having a really bad day, and I came into work. I opened. It was a Saturday, and she was just having a really bad day. She was crying, and I went, "Oh, I really wish I could touch you right now." And she goes, "Well, you can't even give me a hug?" And I said, "No, I really can't." I was like, I would like to even, like, give you so much as a pat on the head. And she, like, puts her head down, and I tried, and everybody laughed at me, but I couldn't touch her. No, it's not the goal. Absolutely, it's not the goal. No. No, I love them, but I don't want to emulate them. Dysfunction is dysfunction. I'm trying to find something functional and sustainable that I can leave when I die. I think every day about how I can make algebra make sense to a literary major, because Leanne asked me to, and I did my very level best for almost 2 years of my life. Because on some level, and whether she meant it or whether she was just saying it to me because I was naturally good at math, and people confess this because they're naturally good at math, on some level, all she really wanted was to be able to finish the math that she needed to get the degree that she wanted to say that she could be who she wanted to be. And in the interim, she had become the best goddamn baker on the planet. Oh my God. That woman, she could make, she made this Kentucky Derby pie that it was almost better than sex. Take care, Rachie. Almost better than sex. Just absolutely incredible. Everything she made, just absolutely incredible. And I know that after I left Silva, she went on to open a bakery. She might even still have that store. I don't know. I haven't checked in on Silva in about a decade. I didn't think I was going to live. I didn't think I was going to still be alive. And so I didn't maintain those relationships because I thought I was going to be dead. Or I thought what would happen is I would strike it rich because one of the books that I was writing was going to sell, and that I would be able to go back a made person, and I would be able to thank them with gifts, real thank yous. I've just always thought I would die young, Brandon. I just always assumed that the poverty would catch up with me eventually and I would die young. That I would be cold and confrontational to the wrong person with a gun, or that the walking along the roadside would have me hit by a car, or something. That I would die young. Hi, Debbie. I was just always prepared for it. Fuck. I gotta get my hand out of the cold. It's like dehydrating and shrinking the scar tissue around my finger, and that hurts in a way that it hasn't hurt in probably 30 years. Wow. Ooh. Yikes. And then if you want the secondary answer, I received a prophetic vision when I was a freshman in high school. That I was either going to die young or I wasn't going to be allowed to die until I did something. And so here I am, no longer young. You don't have to like it, you don't have to believe it, but it happened to me. Those knowings used to just happen to me. They were how I got good grades in school, for example. I would just know things. And this is it's a phenomenon that does stretch back in the written historical record. So it's not something that I was doing. It's not something that I was doing on purpose, knowing what I was doing, but it is a thing that happened. In fact, it's part of why the testing system was developed in the way it was. We used to get my sense of justice, for sure, sense of self-righteousness, or sense of righteousness being done to me, used to get tweaked whenever a question would show up on the test that they hadn't prepared me for, in large part because of Cub Scouts. Be prepared, right? Always be prepared. But then it's like, oh well, I know that answer, and so they were testing us for that phenomenon. They were testing us for what we could figure out given the information made available to us. And on some level, I'm convinced. That's why I was encouraged to just fuck off from the university system. Because they silo on purpose. They're called intellectual silos, information or knowledge silos. They silo on purpose. And I was always competing with or aiming myself toward polymath. And you're not allowed to do that anymore. Good morning, Jackie. You don't have anything to be sorry for, Jackie. Nothing went wrong. You were having a stressful day, and being around other people who had their own emotions and were doing other things was just too much for you, and you had to walk away in a way that you didn't realize was going to happen. And there's just nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't hurt my feelings. You didn't offend me. You didn't say anything that I might have found unpleasant. You were having a bad day, and you needed to be alone, and you didn't realize it until you weren't alone. And that's okay. It's okay to be not okay. And that's what that means. It's just like, oh shit, I just realized that I'm not as okay as I thought I was. And people are going to tell you, well, that's not okay. You said you were okay. Be okay. No, it's okay to be not as okay as you thought you were. Absolutely. Always and forever. And anybody who won't give you that carte blanche, who won't give you that go ahead, that forgiveness, is what the term forgiveness means. This, it means anybody who won't give you that into perpetuity isn't your friend and doesn't love you. That is an act of unlove. Not letting you retreat when you realize that you're not as okay as you thought you were. Hey, Garb. I was absolutely not mad at you. Which islands, Garb? The Cayman Islands? The Virgin Islands? Japan? Which islands? Polynesia? The World According to Garb would be a different movie, I imagine. Book 2. It was a book first. Here's what I do, Jackie. When I go in my head and I think, I bet they're mad at me. The follow-up step is, instead of acting on that, as I stop and I say, okay, well, what would they be mad at me for? And then I just think of all the things that I would be willing to actually be apologetic for, and then I just wait for them to tell me one of those things, and I just act like they're not mad at me, because the other things they don't get to be mad at me for. I wouldn't. Things are fine, Jackie. I need to pee. Yeah, you said that part, Garb. I don't know if I have anything good to tell you. Mr. S is doing well, but he's working sevens, so he's probably exhausted. Rach is moderately upset with me. Well, yeah, I was talking to the guy in the game, though, Jackie. You got to understand that when you hear me, it's 5 seconds after I spoke. Minimum 5 seconds after I've spoken. I was reacting to that gnome telling me how to play the game in the unskippable tutorial. She's just having a bad day, Jackie. She doesn't know the specifics of the relationship that I said was an amount of passion that I didn't want to manage, and so that's triggered her in a way that she needed to retreat from me in a way that's okay. The Channel Islands? I don't know where that is, Garb. Now, you guys got to understand, this isn't a fucking phone call. This isn't a FaceTime. There is a lag between me speaking and you typing. So when you type, there's going to be a lag. Always. This isn't Omegle or the other one where you scroll through people who may or may not be naked. I'm in Ohio, breaking. I wouldn't shit you, Bry Guy. You're my favorite turd. And Cali? Interesting. As far as I know, breaking. You know something I don't know? Well, that's because she's my ex-girlfriend, Jackie. I love her very much. I need to pee pretty bad, and I keep pouring water on top of it. So that's going to be a thing here in a second. And it's too early. I don't want to be at Panera before noon. But if I'm at Panera before noon, maybe, I don't think you've said anything inappropriate in front of her, Jackie. Maybe Mr. S will want to play Final Fantasy X. Or maybe I just maybe we dive into Mass Effect and we just stay. And I know you didn't, Jackie. That's why I'm telling you outright. I could tell that you hadn't figured it out yet. Yes, I treat her like a little sister and it makes her crazy. She's having a genuinely rough day and for genuine reasons, so she's fine. She does really love me, Jackie. And I care about her as well. There's no question about that. I have no question as regards that. Please do pray for her. She's having a tough time. But also be mindful that God has a plan, right? Everything happens for a reason. We don't have to understand the reason in this lifetime. Everything happens for a reason. We don't have to like it. It sounds like a platitude until you think about it. Until you spend a lot of time thinking about it. And there's a certain amount of acceptance required there. But I was thinking about this last night. One of the stages of grief, or despair, if you like, is acceptance. One of them is also bargaining. And so prayer is the bargaining stage. Well, trying to understand and trying to do our best to be a part of it are different things, right? I don't particularly like gendering God. I would call it it, but it is easier to call it his, to anthropomorphize the cognition in that way. Because I do think there's planning, I do think there's thinking happening. I think it's on a scale that's incomprehensible to human beings, but I think that the planning and thinking that's happening at the human scale is incomprehensible to human beings. Like, I don't think that the average human being interacts with an AI chat program and is also comprehending the amount of thinking and planning that it required to make this thing work in the way that it is. You understand what I'm saying? The recognition, the recognition of the initial thinking, cognition, I don't think that happens. And so trying to do it to God is that much more difficult. Well, Jackie, we can think about it in a lot of different ways. Okay? What if it happened to your wife and to you so that you could meet me? And what if in that way your story was broadcast and more people could learn from the things that you've learned in that specific sequence of events? What if you would never have come to learn the things that you've learned, that you, like coming to me last night and being like, don't fucking wait, right? What if you never would have said that to me because you never would have learned, because that thing never happened to her? It's a hard what if, right? It's hard. It's hard to think of ourselves in that simultaneous micro and macro, but we aren't individuals. We are cells in a human body, right? I have to pee. Oh my God. Ah. Ah. Okay. 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 Took longer than I wanted it to. Oh my God, that hurts so bad. Okay. I say that I don't plan to seek medical attention anytime soon, but my trip to the fucking hospital is coming. I can feel it. I don't want it, but it's coming. Fuck. Welcome back, Rachie. Legs are all cramped up. Hurts like a motherfucker. Would not recommend a pelvic floor tear. Would not recommend being as stubborn as I am. Would not recommend. I do kind of feel like singing, which is funny. 2 nights ago, so not last night, the night before last, I was singing Metallica on my walk home, and I decided right before I went into my tent, I was singing Through the Never, and I decided I wanted to go full volume, and so I did. And then about 45 minutes, the cops kept shining their fucking lights on me, and they're like, somebody said that somebody was crying for help down here. Somebody called and said that somebody was screaming for help, and it's like, well, nobody was screaming. They're like, well, were you screaming? I was like, I wasn't screaming. I was singing. So somebody either last night was the first time they've been on this hill in the last year and a half, or somebody had just decided that, you know what, that motherfucker does this every night between 8 and 10 for about 15 minutes, and I've just had it. Well, the 5-0 came responding to the claim that somebody was screaming for help, and he goes, can I look in there real quick to make sure nobody's in there with you? And I was like, man, there's not any room for anybody in here with me. He peeks his flashlight, and it's like, there's not room for anybody in here. All you had to do is use your fucking eyeballs. Where are they going to hide in here, idiot? Just from the outside. Just like, you guys aren't going to make me put my shoes on and stand up, are you? I'm not mortified. I don't care. I do need to replace the tent, though. The zippers on the door are almost all but totally broken. I need to replace it soon, which means I got to make $75 when the spring comes around. But I got to make it through March 1st. We got to make it to April. And so a part of me is like, don't sing quite so loud or quite so often, but I can hear my voice is almost all the way back. And so I want to ruin it again. For sure, Jackie. It's a thing that I do sometimes. Sometimes I like to sing a cappella because the lyrics and the vocal line don't often get you hit with, they don't usually get you hit with copyright. It's the music itself that they hit you with copyright. Heard that, Microchrome. And so I've still got my voice, but I also promised you a surprise when I had my voice. And I'm not going to be able to do that surprise if I ruin my voice. But I also might have fucked up that surprise a little bit, trying to experiment with it. Yeah, I don't title my live streams very well. What if it's not possible for you to miss being alive, Michael? What if only ghosts miss being alive? What if what a demon is is a human soul that misses being alive? Imagine. What would that be like, Walt? I like to see how many different accounts they have. Because every account they use is a new view. It's a new downvote if they get downvote, but this isn't Reddit. YouTube doesn't really give a shit about your downvotes. And it's a new commenting. It's a unique view, a unique vote, and a unique comment. Every time they do it, they're just helping me grow. Haunt your high school bully? Heard that. What if you already are? And the 15 minutes it takes them to type their 300 characters is, again, unique watch time. You'd like to know you're doing it? I have my mobility back without pain. That's good. Last night I had lost my mobility without pain. No, saying it as a joke desensitizes us to the reality. That's a trauma response, whether we like to believe it or not. I'm pretty certain it's not going anywhere for the time being. It's only getting worse. Just do my best to remain hydrated. That's the hardest part. Because it just runs right through me. I'm trying to cut cheese out of my diet. It's just calories, man. Calories and vitamin D I'm losing out on. Be well, Rach. I think Pizza Cottage opens at 10. It's just after 9. I don't like to eat at Panera for breakfast because I'm always hungry just like an hour later. And I just can't afford it, man. Yeah, she's having a bad day, Jackie. She's having a hard day. I wouldn't say that I need money. I have debts, but I'm not worried about that. I always need to be making money. But I'm not worried about that either right now, unfortunately. I'm thinking that I got an hour to kill. I don't want to be at Panera. I'm hungry. For the same number of calories, I could legitimately just run up to Dollar Tree. I have money that I've taken out on credit, Jackie. I have money on hand, and I have access to more on credit. I'm not worried about that. I'm not asking for money, just for what it's worth. If you want to give, always give. But I'm not. That's not what this is. I'm just like planning out my day out loud. Thank you for that. Now I definitely don't need food money because Rachel just dropped money. So thank you. If you want to help, please don't. Hey, don't worry about it, Muggle. Legitimately, don't worry about it. Um, Watching, saying nice things, those are just as good. Those are just as good. Thank you for being here. It's nice to make your acquaintance. Don't even worry about it. I was just thinking today that last week I had made enough money that I could afford. I gave Shred. Shred is my favorite guitar YouTuber. It's just Shred. Um, he he's been making guitar videos for about 15 years now. I've been watching him for 6 or 7 since around COVID, either the year before or the year after, if not 2020, right? So within that 3-year window, plus or minus a year, I've been watching him. And I was just I've started thinking about him a lot. He made this video about Tim Henson. I've talked about this recently. He made this video about Tim Henson, asking whether Tim Henson's music would stand the test of time, whether if in 100 or 300 or 500 years they'll be playing his music on different instruments the way we do Bach, Beethoven, etc. It's a good question. It's a question that I ask, right? You'll hear me say all the time, like, well, but is it going to stand the taste of time? Because like the taste of time, even. Um, the test of time is kind of the art argument, right? Art kind of survives the test of time. Scripture survives the test of time. Theonoustos survives the test of time. No, it's not weird for me, Jackie. She's not an ex to me in that way. You play bass? Yeah, I played bass. I tried to play guitar. I had acoustic guitars throughout my marriage, and then after, and the women in my life gave me a bunch of shit about it. And so during COVID, I bought a bass, and then the woman that I went and lived with after COVID, she made me abandon my bass. So I kind of bitched at her until she bought me a bass. Oh, you play standing bass? That's cool. An acoustic bass. I would love to get an electric standing bass because they're awesome, and my hands would play them more naturally. It would feel more natural to play, easier to hold on to. Um, but they're very expensive. They're very expensive. Yeah, and so I had saved up enough money that I had just $5 that were just mine, that were just an impulse money, that weren't on credit, and so I gave him to Shred, and I left him a $5 super chat asking him if um, he would just do a shout out to the band Elder, and then I didn't think anything of it, and then I noticed that 3 days ago he had commented, "Oh, is that a band?" I just said, "Hey, you give out a shout out to the dudes in Elder. I think you'd dig them." And he goes, "Oh, they're a band. I never heard of them." And that's kind of why I wanted to do that. Is if you spend your time, he spent 15 years in the internet loophole, right? You only hear about the bands that get big on the internet. And so he and I had kind of had like a micro conversation about how I think he's totally right that guitarists spend too much time on technique and not enough time on songwriting. And I commented that like through his lens that he was talking about in that video, it really is stunning to me how many bands there are, of all of the bands that there are, how few of them are driven artistically by the guitarist. The guitarist tends to take a total passenger role. Like think about Kirk Hammett and their songwriting process throughout the first 4 records, 5 records. It was Load and Reload where he took a real heavy hand in the songwriting structure and rhythm guitar even. They were locked in on their positions in the car, and that's totally fine. It's not a negative criticism of Metallica. They made music what it is today. No, she broke up with me for reasons that are her own. Jackie. I still care about her. I still love her, and she still wants to be involved in my life and what I'm doing. We just can't be together in that way. Well, I wouldn't even say that Shred is a little YouTuber. I would say that Shred is a pretty big YouTuber, actually. He's been doing it for 15 years, and he's a guitar teacher. So it's supplemental to what I would think he thinks his real work is, which is selling his guitar teaching. Totally acceptable. Um, I go to him when I want to hear somebody talk about how music theory can be implemented in songwriting. I do think of him as an expert in that thing he does, and I think he's really funny. Um, and so anyway, he asked me, "Is that a band?" And I didn't realize it was 3 days ago that I did this. I didn't realize until today that he was interested in the suggestion. He goes, "Oh, I've never heard of them." And so I just said, "They're guitar forward. That it's all written from the guitar out, and it's awesome." Um, but it's all songs, in large part because the guitarist is also the vocalist, and so it's songs, and that's cool. That's why Metallica are what Metallica are, because the rhythm guitar is if you listen, it's written and it's textured for the vocal line, even though the vocal is added much later. That's cool. I like that. That's what makes Metallica what Metallica are. It's guitar music, right? And so I agree with him fundamentally. And I was like, oh, do I notice the same thing you do here? Would you like it? And I paid him $5 to check it out, and he took me seriously. And that felt nice. It felt nice to me as a small YouTube creator, right? Like content creator, it felt nice to me as a viewer of his channel. It took me fucking 6 years to be able to feel like I have a question that's deserving of $5. I have a comment that's deserving of your eyeballs, even though I know that you go through and heart all of these, even after 15 years. I have something that's deserving of your eyeballs, and here's $5. It felt good to engage in the economy that I asked you guys for. Or like, I haven't told this story. 2 nights ago, not last night, the night before last, I'm in Pizza Cottage. And the 2 nights before that, other people in the store had bought my dinners. So last night, Sunday, Saturday night, Friday, Thursday, and Friday night, people had bought my dinners. The other customers in the store had bought my dinner. And so, not last night, but Saturday night, I'm sitting there, and my server comes around, and she goes, "Hey, the kitchen bought your dinner. You're good. Don't worry about it." And I'm like, and I did the same thing, but because it was the third time in a row, I had an actual emotional reaction to it. The first time I was just like, okay, well, how can I tip you? And it turned out that the one, it might not have been in a row, but that week, the one that only paid 15 toward my 16, and so I left her. I just left her the amount that I was going to pay anyway, so she got a nice big tip. And then the other one, I bought a cookie, and so I left her the amount that I would have left on a cookie. And then this girl, I'm like, I just turn around and I'm like, how am I supposed to? Actually, I turn around and I'm like, why do you keep? And then I covered my mouth because I realized that she's not going to understand that I'm not mad, just emotional. But it's going to look like anger because I'm reacting in time. I'm not taking a second to not react, and so I just took a second to not react. And I'm like, okay, thank you very much. How can I tip you? And she's like, oh, I don't want you to. And I'm like, but I want to give you my money, right? I want to give you my money for the I like her, and I like cookies. I didn't even eat the damn cookie. And I would like to give you my money. And she's like, I don't want your money. And so last night I'm sitting there, and one of the girls that I had actually stiffed on a tip, because she'd given me absolutely terrible service, encouraged me to leave a couple of times before she would take my order. I was really upset about it. Like, thought about writing on my receipt, like that really fucked me up. I'm here to spend money. Why are you trying to turn me away? It's not your responsibility to think about how homeless I am, and whether I can or cannot feed myself, and whether I am or am not doing this on debt is not your problem, right? As a server, it's just not. I don't know whether I like her. She's nice. They're all nice to me except for this one. They're all nice to me except for this one. And so she takes my table last night, and she comes over and she doesn't do the thing where she kicks me out. Immediately she comes over and she brings me the water and brings me the menu, and she goes, "Are you wanting to get something tonight?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm wanting to get the thing I always get." And I order the thing I always get. And then she comes back out when she brings me the check, and she goes, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm the one who bought your dinner last night, because you come in here every night. You're always cool. You never cause a problem. You never leave a mess. You never complain about anything. And all the other girls like you." That's what she said. She said those words in that order. That's a quote. All of that is verbatim. She said, "All the other girls like you." And so it was her way of mea culpaing for trying to kick me out, for trying to encourage me to stop coming to that store. She's like, "You're here every day and you never cause problems." Which means that she's either a floor manager or she's like me. And she thought that I was coming there to predate on the girls, to get them to like me so they would adopt me. And that's not what's happening. I'm just trying to eat my burger. And yeah, if I enjoy looking at their butts, I feel like I'm allowed to enjoy looking at a pretty woman's butt. Maybe, Jackie. Maybe. But the kind of work that I do, women think that I love my work more than I am in love with them. Like, I really don't think there's anything wrong with that, wanting to sit there and sip my water, which would be a beer, but I got this pelvic thing I'm trying to deal with while we get through the winter. And I feel like I'm allowed to sit there and sip my water and pretend like I'm watching the TV while I am obviously watching you bend over to give him that pizza. I feel like I'm allowed that. I feel like that's why they don't wear dresses. Rach didn't break it off. No, I mean, there's a part of Rach that broke it off because I'm a moderately attractive man and she's very far away and has no way to know that I'm not sticking my fingers in these cookies, but I'm just not. I'm just not. There's one, she got mad at me because she introduced herself by her name to me the other night, and they don't all do that. In fact, none of them do that. Only 2 of them have told me their names, and only one of them wears her name tag ever. These girls, man. Anyway, she comes over to my table, not last night, but she was the one that I went, "Okay, why are you guys doing this?" Or I started to ask that, and then I changed my tack. She was the one that I started to do that. She'd given me her name 2 nights before, and I hadn't used it. I saw her Friday night, and I didn't say her name. And so she comes over to my table, and I go, "Hey, something's wrong." Obviously, I don't say that part out loud. She leaves. She's my shit down, walks off. She comes back with my cup, and I was like, "Your name, right?" And then her whole attitude changes. She goes, "Oh yeah, you remember me." It's like, "I've forgotten you." But yeah, the working, yes, in large part, yes. But that's why all the women in my life have behaved in the various ways that they've behaved, is because they felt like they were in competition for my attention and my focus with my work. All of them. Everyone. Whether it was when I was working at the gas station or working tables or writing, it doesn't matter. When I was trying to record a podcast, it doesn't matter. I couldn't do anything without Kat interrupting. Anything. It didn't matter. I'm gonna sit down to record a podcast. She knows it's gonna take an hour. I've got the fucking I'm recording light on it. She's gonna bang on the door. She's gonna start fucking singing for no fucking reason. She didn't leave me for working. She gave me a lot of reasons. And it's kind of irrelevant, because if she were to hear this part, she would also say that she's apologized for all of those, she's mea culpa'd for all of them, and she's trying to undo all of them. And so on some level, if she were on the other side of this camera, what she would say is that I'm the reason I'm single. That I'm the one that turns her, well, I'm not trying to find anyone. I'm just trying to make it through my day. I'm trying to eat lunch. I'm trying to change lives. I'm trying to give a voice to the voiceless. I'm trying to be moderately amusing. And I have a seriously wrecked pelvis. What I probably don't need to be doing is getting boners. It's bad. Maybe, Jackie. But I don't not love Rachel. What are my pronouns? I don't own any pronouns. Are we playing Jeopardy? No. Wheel of Fortune? Was this a dating app? I love differently. I'm just a different kind of person, a different kind of man. I'm an older kind of man. I'm a throwback to just when men were men, when they weren't, what do we call them? Heterosexuals. Back before men realized that they could be women and it was easier. Well, if I just say I'm a woman, if I just suck dick. Yeah, for sure, Jackie. Take care. Be well. Kiss your lady for me. Well, not for me, but you know what I mean. Send her my best. All that. Ooh. I can't remember whether they open at 10 or 11. I could look. I'm gonna. They open at 11. And it is only 9:30. 9:20. So I got about 30 more minutes in this show. And then I can do something else for an hour while I get ready. And I can show up and be their first customer. Well, maybe, Jackie. Maybe. There are extenuating circumstances about which you don't know and I'm not allowed to talk about. Maybe, Jackie. It depends on when we started. Right, because everything is relative to the starting line. Every race is relative to the starting line. Right? The clock only begins when you start the race. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, I'm mostly warm, Muggle. I could be warmer. I could put my hood back up around my neck. I could pull this bigger hood up around myself. I'm warm enough. I'm warm enough that the calories that I'm going to put in my body later are going to feel really fucking nice. That I know. I'm glad that you're staying warm. Ugh. Ugh. Are you between living arrangements? I do not consider myself between living arrangements. This is semi-permanent until I have a different living arrangement. You understand? But I do have sympathy for people who are between living arrangements. I have done it many times. I did it many times as a child. Extenuating circumstances, Jackie. Be well and take care. don't think there's anything shameful. I am still here, Rachel. I don't think there's anything shameful about the way I live. Sure, there's more trash in here than I would like, but it's insulating me against the cold. And sure, there's more trash down there than I necessarily need, but it's insulating me against the cold. And it turns out I don't exactly like carrying bags of trash up to the trash can in the cold. So once it warms up, that'll stop being a regular thing. Go back to once the trash bag is full, taking it up to the hill because it's not uncomfortable. I don't mind that you're in and out, Rachel. You're not doing anything wrong as far as I can tell. Not hurting me in any way. No. I mean, you'll think that you missed something, but I would say that you didn't miss anything. Just me advocating for the righteousness of your choices. No, I wouldn't sing without you, Rachel. That would be cruel and unusual and weird. Thank you, Muggle. It doesn't always stay low-key. No, yours specifically, Rachel. She can't grapple with the extenuating circumstances that keep you and I apart. Because I'm not allowed to talk about them. I'm almost always talking about you, bruh. If I thought you could fight back, Rachel, I probably would. I'm not gonna fight Rachel. She would beat me up anyway. I know it is, with you, Rachel. I know. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I keep telling you guys, I should not get boners with my pelvic injury. And she's trying to get slapped around with the dick. Pillow fight, yeah. It's not always low-key, Muggle. The women show up and things get weird. That's why I've been talking about my servers at my tables all night. I swear to God, every one of them is asking. I swear to God, every one of them is waiting for that, for me. They want me to say. When they go, is there anything else I can get for you? When they know I don't want anything and haven't wanted anything. I swear to God, they're waiting on me to say, I don't know, pop out one of them titties or something. I swear to God, they're waiting on me to say that the only thing that I could want with my meal now is them. Yeah, it's not always low-key. Yeah, what does it do? Gotta go for a mushroom stamp. Ugh. It just depends on the crowd. I let the crowd dictate how I am a low-key person. Yes, I am very chill. I try my best to remain as chill as possible, but I also enjoy surfing the waves. Yeah, I've heard that a couple of times today that it's the stash. It doesn't even look good right now, but I appreciate that. Thank you. My face it just looks so dirty. This just all needs to come off, but it's not coming off while there's still wind and snow because it keeps my face warm. But like the neck beard thing embarrasses me. So much of it is on my underside. Embarrasses me. How tall do you have to be? It's really not a height requirement. It's really more of an age requirement. It's definitely 18 and up. We do sell advance tickets. No, we don't. That's a joke. Yeah, it's the eating. That's the thing that's hardest for people to understand. It's the eating. The more calories, especially like if you have dense food that's going to take a real long time to burn inside your body to digest, that's what keeps us the warmest, for sure. The the nights where I haven't eaten a lot are the miserable nights. Yeah. Yeah, and then when it's days on end, it's almost impossible to regulate your body. Yeah, gotta have meat. Cheese is nice, but I am lactose intolerant, and I've been trying to ignore it for years, and it leaves me in agony now. Meats, yeah. Beef, especially. Chicken is fine, but beef is better. Mm. Epilepsy. I don't envy you that. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. I know you're not complaining. You just you're just speaking out your truth, and that's fine. I have these complications that make my life more difficult than it necessarily would be if I didn't have these complications, but what I'm not doing is saying, woe is me, I have these complications, everybody stop for me. That's not what anybody thinks you're doing, Muggle. Anybody who thinks you're doing that would just get muted anyway if they voiced it. We're allowed to acknowledge that we struggle in ways that other people might not struggle without also stopping the world. Yeah. Seizures and sick a lot. Yeah. When I was a kid, for whatever reason, a lot of information about epilepsy was presented to me. I had a girlfriend whose brother was epileptic. And yeah, we all have our own complications, Rachel. Yeah, since at least Sigmund Freud, the medical institution has been telling you that they could make you normal. And the best I can tell is that Sigmund Freud was right, that normal is the appearance that you have no complications. But we only get health insurance when we have prior complications. Yeah, it sucks, but it also makes it easier to empathize with one another. And for me, it makes it easy to identify who is trying to grift and who is trying to take advantage of the myth that we aren't all complicated. You just want to be 23 again? Oh, you just want to be 22? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't think you do, though. Because I think if you were suddenly 23 with what you know now, you would realize that the choices you made when you were 21 are where it set you to where you are now. And maybe you might even look back and be like, oh, the choices I made at 9 made me who I'm regretting being now. And so I think that for me, you don't have to take this position, but for me, just coming to accept and love and appreciate that if I hadn't been that person, then I wouldn't be who I am now. And that there's a love and tenderness and empathy that I deserve from myself because I made me this. Well, I'd be 14. But I'd be into it, so whatever. '14 was 2001. Yeah. I was a freshman in high school. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to deal with this the way that I'm dealing with it at 23, for sure not. I wasn't that different, but I wouldn't have been able to do this, not the thing that I'm doing. I just still been into it. All the women I was dipping my wick in when I was 18 were older than I was. 2 or 3 years older. You guys, you're so silly. You get so... I love it how just regular... You never heard that one, dipping my wick? You guys... You guys get so funny. You get so pearl clutchy at the idea of a regular dude just having an active sex life. It's so funny. I love it. That's why I do that. I had a normal, totally normal sex life, but it sounds like modern porn because it was, I know, because it was technically my roommates. And it was their ideas. They wanted to fuck each other, but couldn't cross that bridge. So they took turns fucking me. It sounds like porn. Because by 2005, yeah, I know you are. By 2005, everybody had porn. And so I've just tried to go to work and play my video games and read my books and just be a dude. Just be like a normal 18-year-old dude. That I got these horny 18-year-old, actually they were 20 and 21-year-old women living in the same house as me. Not working, flirting with going into prostitution and pornography themselves. I'm not going to say no. Who says no? Yeah. I can't believe you never heard that before. Because, you know, the string has got to be wet with wax in order for it to get hard. I didn't mean specifically you, Muggle. I meant my audience. Oh, anytime I talk about it, it doesn't mean if I'm talking about it in public or in private or whatever. People just get... Rich should never thought about... He didn't think about why the idiom is what it is. No, we've been trained. We've been trained to be just absolutely that men have a healthy sexual life with a woman other than their monogamous partner because we've been taught to do that with celebrities. And so if a dude is just like, I was fucking my female friends because they wanted sex and I couldn't find a girlfriend that I wanted to partner up with. It's like you're supposed to be like, but it turns out like that's just normal human behavior. And so people are like, actually, wait a minute, wait a minute. That's not weird. Can I explain it again using Keena's voice? No. Not on purpose. I don't remember what you wanted me to explain. Oh, why I was having sex with those two women in particular? Right. Because my heart was broken because the girl that I wanted to be with forever broke up with me the day before my 18th birthday. My mother kicked me out on my 18th birthday, and Megan, I won't say her last name, but she was my best friend in high school, and she was dating this dude. She was seeing this dude in St. Louis, and she wanted to go and spend a weekend, or really it was closer to a week, fucking him. Whatever, I got it. And I was homeless, and so she's like, come to St. Louis with me. And I was like, okay. And then on the 4th, I met one of their female friends, and I was like, well, I'm not going to be in St. Louis while everybody else is around me fucking and a virgin. So and then they her name was Ket, Ket. Those two decided that they were going to live together anyway, and I was like, fine, 3 incomes is better than 2. And I had a full ride to Wright State, but it didn't include housing, and no adults. My parents were supposed to cover that. They were supposed to figure out how to cover that, and my parents refused to help at all in any kind of way. My mother had already kicked me out. Describing anything and everything. Yeah, no, I'm going to be tasteful because we were just kids. I mean, we were 18, but whatever. But yeah, that was a disaster. Ket joined the army. Megan wouldn't get a job until we were already in what's it called? We were behind. Like we got a month behind because I got paid and had rent in my pocket and forgot that it was in my pocket and changed pants and somebody stole it. I knew that was going to happen. I wasn't even that upset about it. But we got a pay period behind, which meant that we were 2 weeks late on rent, which meant that they went into eviction, and she didn't have an income until then, and so that was a whole thing. They fucked around with us until we were several $1,000s and back due to them, right? Like they do, and like they should have. I knew what they were doing, and I was fine with it. She was freaking out. You don't have to pay that. You never have to pay that. It doesn't actually sit on your credit for very long, but whatever. We ended up dating. Megan and I ended up dating for about a year after that. We became monogamous or whatever. And then she started the cycle. She started the cycle of women being like, you're fun to hook up with. I don't want you fucking anybody else, but I'm gonna fuck everybody but you. And that's just a cycle that, has followed me. I don't remember why I'm talking about this. Oh, people get so silly. That's why you don't want to have those kind of sex. That's why people clutch their pearls. They know how the story ends. Yeah, it ends poorly. But I was a dude, and I was the one making the income, so I thought that I was the one not taking a risk. I know, Rachel. You definitely have the badge, Rachel, is the only woman who's ever broken up with me without another dude's dick in her mouth. Well, I am a lover of speaking the truth, Muggle. The truth gets reactions, for sure. And if the job of being on YouTube, if I treat it like, if I treat being a YouTuber, a streamer, if I treat it like I treated being behind the register or at your table side, the job is to entertain in my specific way, right? To do the song and dance, to do the little juggle, to do the little hip shake, right? And I avoid the pornographic route. I avoided the pornographic route, but it still got me women. And young dudes do need to hear that. So if I'm approaching 40, right, and this is the time in the human lifespan when we're supposed to be giving back, young dudes do need to hear a guy saying that sex is funny, and women are different than we are, but that we can still treat them with dignity and respect and have fun with them. It is still allowed. And you can do it one at a time. Recommended one at a time. Rachel knows why I'm laughing. She recently sent me the video of me describing this. That was fun. It's a moment that I'll have for the rest of my life. It's hard to laugh. It gets, especially when it starts snowing again, it becomes increasingly difficult to laugh with the barometric pressure and the cold. One at a time is recommended. Because once you get good at getting two at a time, you start to treat it with a little bit less dignity. Or they do. Somebody does. That's a plural you. Recommended. It's a good time though. The show You're the Worst. That's one of my very favorite quotes. I think it's I'm trying to remember his name now. It might be Dennis. His name might be Dennis, but I don't think it is. The writer character. He has these two chicks that are into him and they want to do a threesome, and he's freaking out about it because he's never had a threesome before. And his on again, off again paramour is making fun of him, and she says, "You're a man in his 30s and you've never had a threesome before?" American life. Adult life. It's like, how did you make it through your 20s and not try? Rachel. How did you not compare the mushroom stamps just to try it out? That hurts like a motherfucker. Yeah, Rachel. I tease, I kid. The answer is by being a good, wholesome person. But what if it's not undivided? What if they're crossing ways into your cheeks? You've never thought about it like that? Like, what if it's... Now I'm just thinking about that movie, Roller Town. You never wanted to be a double dicker? I'm a bad person. No, you're not supposed to want to. Not supposed to want to. That's bad. That's bad behavior. This is why we clutch our pearls. It does things to your brain that have a long-term effect. It does. It changes you. Rachel literally never thought about it. It does bad. Yeah, cover your eyes. Don't let me put it in your brain. It does bad things to your brain. Now you should be clutching your pearls. Because all three people are doing a very strange thing. You're not supposed to want to do that. It's funny to laugh at, right? But I talk about this all the time. We make jokes about things that we desensitize. We desensitize the reality. We laugh at the trauma, right? I'm trying to demonstrate the thing I talk about all the time. I've done things that are unspeakable. And on some level, I am supposed to feel guilty for it, right? I know, it's a circus. That's what I said. It's passion I don't want to manage. It's a circus. It becomes a literal rodeo. And it's funny because I know that it's not actually funny. It's funny because it's true. Right. That's kind of what I'm saying. That's the point that I'm making, Rach, is that it is fun, but that it has lasting downstream effects in our lives. And so, like, a lot of people don't think that I can. A lot of people don't think that I can just say no, right? And it's like, who would say no? Someone who used to just say, okay, sure, whatever. This could be fun. All right, now I'm going to put on my shoes and I'm going to get out of here. And I actually have to pee. So I'm probably, oh, God damn it, it's only 10 o'clock. I don't want to leave yet, but I have to pee again. So, fuck. Give me a sec. Well, hopefully you didn't see that. That wasn't on purpose. I thought I turned that camera around. Whoops. Hopefully you didn't see anything. I thought I turned the camera around. This is why I need a producer. Somebody in my ear like, hey, you didn't turn the camera around. They're going to see your wang dang. They're going to see your limp noodle. They're going to watch you shake it more than 3 times. Damn it. My door is broken. This is your fault, Rachel. Shit. Yeah, I should be embarrassed about that too. But you know what? It is what it is. Fuck. Hey, got it. I'm clutching my pearls. I was clutching both of them a minute ago. I gotta pull them out of the way of my ureter. It's your fault. Huh? Because if I didn't have all this blankets and shit, I wouldn't have all this weight pushing on my fucking door, Rachel. For the record, if I didn't have all this blankets and shit, I would also have a draft directly on my face. Huh? Because you're readily available and you're always going to emotionally react. And like I was starting to say and then forgot, if I'm doing a job, it's just trying to get you to emotionally react. Huh? No. That's what my OnlyFans is for, Muggle. She has my fucking phone number. She could be doing all of this where you guys can't see it. She's participating in the show in the way that I have asked all of you to. Hopefully you didn't see my limp noodle. That would be bad. YouTube would be very upset with me, and I would be like, for good reason. Now she does the thing where she claims that I'm telling mistruths. And now you don't know. Now you just don't know. She's figured out the two truths and a lie of Shaggy Philalitheia. Oh, that hurts so bad, guys. Oh, that hurts so bad. In like just a uniquely terrifying way. I'm in Ohio, Eyeless. Try not to think about it because I'm not losing mobility. It just hurts. It hurts, and it's pressure that it just shouldn't be feeling. Thank you for not making a big deal about it. And move on. It snowed a little yesterday. It was snowing a little this morning. It hasn't snowed in the last hour, I would say. Not much. Not a big deal. Any that we have got. I always think that I've got to drool these whites. When I see them clump up like that, I think I've got like a drool hanging down in my beard. So I'm like, I should probably get that. But nope, it's just gray hairs. And my soul patch. I don't know what that means, Rach. Are you telling me that you're carrying a torch for me? Hello, Nebula. What's up? How you doing? Sorry. Carrying a torch for someone? Hmm? It means loving them from a distance. You know, like you carry a torch in the... How many of these idiom that have you guys never heard of? That's funny to me. My grandparent, my grandfather at least, my grandparents were literate people. And they spoke like intelligent people. And so I have access to a lot more literary idiom than I realized other people do. I'm not judging you. And I didn't mean you, Rachel. That's why I laughed. Asking you, how many of these do you not know is unfair? My grandfather was a very idiomatic speaker. And so I realized that I carry a lot of idiom that you guys have just never heard of. He was a very literate man. And he cared about his speech and his diction a lot. He cared about our speech and diction, his grandkids and his daughters. He said that the way you speak is the second thing that a person is going to notice about you. And he grew up in the worst kind of poverty. His parents abandoned him, and there were like 5 or 7 of them, abandoned him. Well, the way you write is a later order of something that someone's going to know about you, but anymore the way you write is among the first things that people learn about you. Torches don't have wicks. No, candles have wicks, you weirdo. Torches have, I don't think you would call the binding of a torch a wick. Maybe you would call it a wick. I don't know what the rope with the fuel wrapped around the torch is called, though. It might be called a wick. And you would have to dip that in the fuel to make it work, so it probably is called a wick. His parents abandoned them. In his lifetime, he wasn't the youngest, but they abandoned all 5 or 7 of them to an orphanage when he was just a little kid. So you want to talk about abject poverty, like the abjectest poverty. So I listened when he spoke, because he wasn't a pillar in the community, but he'd put 3 girls through high school in that community. 5 days. Abject applesauce. Okay. Well, if you can't fly, but you have to, is there not another arrangement that you can make? How do you feel about apple tapenade? Or, shit, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a sauce they make in food. Maybe it's tapenade. I don't think it's tapenade, though. It's called, like, it's not compote, and it's not chipotle, and it's not... Shit. I think it's an Indian style sauce. Chutney. How about apple chutney? Rach, do you like chutney? I was about to say, it's basically the same thing. You just have opinions about eating applesauce by itself. I might have shared your opinion before I was homeless. First time they hit me with cinnamon applesauce at the kitchen changed everything about how I feel about applesauce. But I prefer the thicker stuff. Not necessarily chunky, I just prefer it thicker. Yeah, the mouthfeel, for sure. For sure. And I don't know that I would cook with applesauce. I don't know that I would actually use it as a sauce. I don't think it's good hot. I can't imagine it is good hot. Like using applesauce as a chutney, I can't imagine that would be good. I can't do watermelon either. Not anymore. I grew up in the South. I grew up in North Carolina and I had watermelon. It was just always fucking available. And I just can't anymore. What is that? How did it get in there? Oh. Good answer. I'm done. Yeah, you would love watermelon. You didn't, well, maybe you did grow up around it. You didn't grow up in the South. You don't like cucumber? You don't like potatoes, cantaloupe, or muskmelon? I like cantaloupe and muskmelon. I don't know that they're different fruit. Cucumber tastes to you like sugar-free watermelon? Okay. I mean, it tastes like water. I can hear that. Cucumber doesn't really have a flavor until you pickle it. It has a texture. And there's little white seeds. So I could see that. Oh, that's better. I need that to not be what I think it is. Neebs went live yesterday? I didn't watch. Oh, the premiere, you mean, of them and Glock and Vertigo. Oh, there's the stomach growling. That's a good problem to have. That means with any luck, this extreme and severe pain in my left side is just lactose. God, just let it be that I ate cheese yesterday. It's okay. It's okay because it has to be. Oh, but I might be done being live. I might want to move around, and I kind of feel like singing, so I don't think I'm going to do that on the stream. I know you guys don't like seeing me hurt, and I'm doing a lot of that right now. And so you guys are trying to fight through your own thing. And seeing me hurt makes me look less invincible. It makes me look more like the Fisher King that I really am. And so it puts that reminder in your mind that, oh yeah, he's on a clock too, right? Like, oh yeah, he's dying too. And so when I talk about when did the race start, when did the clock begin, right? I'm encouraging you to think about when it began for me. Did it begin when I started recording my podcasts, the talking to myself videos at the beginning of this timeline, or did it start decades before that? Hey, yeah, if you need help, Muggle, stay in touch, okay? I can help if you need help, right? They always tell me, just tell me if you need help. Just stay in touch, Muggle. If you need help, I can help you find people who want to throw money at a problem. If you need help, stay in touch, okay? I've done it before. And frankly, a lot of the money that I helped move around was Rachel's. But we've done fundraisers here for people who needed it to the channel before. If you need help, just stick around. You don't have to ask. I'm trying to teach these guys to give without making people ask. If you need help, just stick around. And she's asking if you have Cash App. So don't be afraid when people say, hey, don't be afraid. And I can always just put it up right on the screen. Your username and other lives. So just stick around. That's amazing. That right there, for anybody not looking, that's a synchronicity. The bees wicked. Cool. It's good to make your acquaintance, Muggle. Yeah. That right there, like, God speaks in the little things. Thank you for letting us help in the way that we have. And if you're out there and you want to help my guy Muggle, he's not asking for help. I'm asking for help. If you want to help my guy, his Patreon is right here in the chat. I'm not going to humiliate him by putting it into the future. That would be a dick move. But it's right here in the chat. If you want to help my guy in perpetuity, you don't need to show up. Hey, do you still need? No, just throw him $5. Throw him 50 cents, right? If you want to help a guy out, here's a guy who needs the help. And he has the dignity not to just make his experience your problem. Help him out. Thank you. That's all I got to say on that. I'm not going to bully you on it any further. And thank you for giving me a call to action at the end here, Muggle. Genuine thanks from me. You guys don't have to worry about me, right? These lives that I do from my tent, the vertical lives that I do, they're never monetized. So you'll never watch a commercial on it, whatever. I'm just here to hang out, meet you guys, talk about a thing if it's on my heart, whatever. If you want to help a guy eat, me, Muggle, anybody else, this is a good place to come and say, hey, who needs help eating today? Because it's not always me. But there's always somebody. We never know. I used to always, whenever I would come into work, if I stopped to get something to eat, I would always bring an extra sandwich. Like, I'd always order an extra sandwich. Like, if I got to work having eaten, I'd always just get there and be like, hey, if anybody wants this, I got an extra sandwich for you guys. Somebody always wanted it because somebody always forgot lunch. Somebody always overspent on breakfast. Somebody always just wanted it. And somebody recently said to me that love is making sure that somebody gets the last piece of pizza. You don't have to love me. My great joy is watching you guys love one another. Like, if what we're doing is playing cult, and on some level we are playing cult of personality around my personality, well, my personality is to make sure that the less of us, the least of us is the greatest, right? That those of us who are the hungriest get the food, right? Those of us who are doing the work get the praise, and those of us who have something to say get the attention. So those of us who don't have anything to say are the people who get muted. So thank you, Muggle. Genuinely. Somebody asked me today, like, why do bad things happen to me and the people that I love? And I asked the question, like, well, is it not possible that maybe they happen to you so that you would come and talk to me? Yeah, for sure. Me too, Muggle. That's what I fantasize about. So thank you guys. My pain is lessening. We're just gonna hope that was a lump of cheese that got stuck there and was bulging those muscles apart in a way that they're gonna close, and that's not gonna happen again. W's in chat for Rachie. She's having a rough day, but she's trying to think of how she can help us, all of us, right? Even though she's having a bad day. And that's what I would recommend is when the pain is worse, ask, like, when the pain is at its worst, ask not what you can do for the pain, but what you can do for somebody else's. I'll be streaming all day long. I'm going to go get something to eat, and then I'm going to play a video game until about 8 p.m. And then I'll be back in the morning sometime tomorrow. I don't like to keep a schedule because I have pathological demand avoidance. And if I keep the same schedule for too many days in a row and it's not generating a reliable income, I crash out hard. But every day, I stream every day. Yeah, I understand. I understand, Muggle. Um, I never watched streams before I started doing it. I started streaming as an expedient because making and editing videos was frustrating the shit out of me. Um, but I talk to a lot of people who just stream to take their minds off things, just see people out there in the world living. And so I try to give back in crowd work. I try to give back in a positive way via crowd work. That's what I mean. I see a lot of people who are just looking for a connection, and I don't want them to connect to me. I want you guys to connect to one another. Hello, Angie. I want you guys to connect to one another and go to the Discord so we can monetize the Discord, so I can pay those of you who are doing the most work on Discord to continue working on Discord. You see what I'm saying? Thank you, Rachel. If you guys don't understand, having watched the whole episode, why Rachel does that, she knows that I will take out a loan to send money, and that I will hurt myself to help you guys. And so she jumps in front of it so I don't hurt myself. I don't set myself back to make sure that you guys hurt less than I do. I call it the Shaggy method. I'm not asking you to try it, and I'll never charge you to teach it to you. But if you subscribe, especially on the Patreon at the higher levels, I'll do my best, because that seems to be what you want. Okay, guys. I've done my Midwest goodbye. I've filibustered. I've allowed these two to love on one another. Please be well. And Muggle, spend it all in one place if you want to, buddy. I have before. got a big investment, just went, fuck it, I'm buying every hamburger I can fit in my face. Because sometimes that feels good too. Sometimes that little is something you can remember during the real low parts. From the outside, it seems insane. But sometimes that little mountain, that little peak is what gets us through the worst of the dark nights, the darkest nights of the soul. Sometime, or that one memory of that one time that God did that one really awesome thing for us. I have to remind myself of that as my guts hurt. They're trying to bulge out right above my left thigh, and it hurts like a motherfucker. And so maybe if I was talking inappropriately about the women that I have loved in my past, it's because I may never get to love a woman again. Love you guys. And that gets me through remembering that, or realizing that. Be well.